Welcome to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share on any platform that you're listening on. All right, welcome back to another show. Thank you for sharing these episodes with your friends. We've really noticed an uptick in views and listens, so we do thank you guys for that. Interesting topics going on right now. One of which was the Inflation Reduction Bill in Congress. And it seems to be a fairly big bill. Because one of the things that Mike and I have talked about in the past was the ability for Medicare to negotiate drug prices. And it looks like we finally got some of that at first glance. But, yeah, it's funny. If you try and go and look through the bill, it's a tough read,
to say the least.
How many? You were telling me how many pages is this thing?
730 pages.
That's a lot of pages, man.
Yeah.
I mean, how long was War and Peace? Is that like 1,000 pages or something?
Yeah. And that's a book that you want to read.
Right. No, there's a story to it, right? Yeah.
There's no story to this except crap.
You were telling me you read me like a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
There were a lot of dots, periods, and numbers.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this, and I gotta laugh, this paragraph has to do with clean vehicles. So, final assembly, section 30D, and then in parentheses D, is amended 1 in paragraph 1A in subparagraph E by striking and at the end, in subparagraph F2 by striking the period at the end, and inserting and in quotes, and by adding at the end the following. G, the final assembly of which occurs within North America, by adding at the end the following. Final assembly for purposes of paragraph 1G, the term final assembly means the process by which a manufacturer produces a new clean vehicle at or through the use of a plant, factory, or other place from which the vehicle is delivered to a dealer or importer with all the component parts necessary for the mechanical operation of the vehicle included with the vehicle, whether or not the component parts are permanently installed in or on the vehicle. What the F does that mean?
I don't understand how they vote on these things. If that's what is put into the bills.
Yeah, I don't think none of them can be reading this.
No.
None of them are all that smart, first of all. I think we can all probably, I don't care what side of the aisle you fall on, I think we can all pretty much agree on that one. I don't think any of them are that smart. No one's going to sit down and read that thing. I mean, that's hard.
But let's say you got the time to read 735 pages. When it reads like that, I'm out by the third paragraph. I'm good. You know what?
Yeah, and that little nugget is on page 373. So prior to that literary genius is 372 pages of that.
Yeah, and there's 372 pages after that?
Yeah. Just
to get to 750.
Yeah.
It's I don't understand how they vote on this stuff. When nobody can read that. Yeah. There have got to be specialists in Congress who write this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a skill right there. To word salad something for 750 pages.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I was decent at it in college for a good 5 to 10 pages.
Mm-hmm.
But for 750 pages, I couldn't do it. I couldn't word salad anything that well.
Yeah, and then when you look at it, and I ain't really, so, it's D, it's parentheses D, parentheses little e, parentheses I, little I, twice.
Yeah.
So it all refers back to something else.
Right. So in order to understand what this is saying, you have to go back to the reference section.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine how long that would take you.
But all of that was to say that the vehicle had to be made in North America.
Yes. It'd be we're striking the word and.
Yeah.
We're adding the word, it's like the addendums are spelled out. It's why not just give someone a final copy? You don't have to tell us exactly what was stricken from version 1 to version 6. We're good. Just give us the entirety of it.
I don't need to know how you got there. I just need to know where you got.
This isn't sixth grade math where you have to show your work. Just give us the final bill. Like this, I think this is one thing that people, when they say like drain the swamp type stuff, this is part of it. I mean, this is no person who wants to read what a bill has in it should have to read 750 pages of that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. It's not right to do that to someone who, like, and everyone wonders, well, why, people are dumb. People aren't educated when they vote. Well, if that's the bill, I don't blame everyone but the 3 people who wrote it who don't read it in this country to know who they're voting for, who they're voting against. When you've got to read that, I mean, what you just read to me made my head hurt, and I wasn't even the one reading it.
Right.
I don't understand that.
Yeah, nobody does.
And like you said, all it was literally a paragraph just to say something in this bill has to be made in North America.
Yeah.
Couldn't we just put that in the first place?
Right.
You got to write down the correction to the correction to the correction to get to where you are?
Mm-hmm.
I can't do that. Like, and people wonder why, everyday Joes, regardless of the political affiliation, are pissed off at politicians.
Yeah. They should make a procedure that every law, no matter what they're voting on, cannot take up more than 1 page. You should be able to convey the purpose of the law in 1 page.
So the problem with that is that, a lot of these guys, they say, look, I'll vote yes for this if you vote yes for this other thing.
Yeah.
So like these compromise bills.
So that was probably, that whole edition was probably someone wanted thrown in there.
Right. Yeah.
So you can get your lousy tax credit for your vehicle, but it has to be, it can't be a Porsche Taycan.
Right.
Because that's made in Germany.
For someone like me to understand it, I've got to go to a website like The Hill. And that's what I got it up on my phone right now. And it basically gives me the Cliff Notes version of what's in the bill.
Yeah.
Now, I've got to hope that they've got a specialized person who can read this garbage in order to give me the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah. And
I also have to hope that they're not putting a spin on it politically.
Well, yeah, they probably are.
I'm hoping. I would hope that there's a place I can go to get the summary, like this, which is, it's a very nice summary. And it's
certainly better than the original.
Oh, sure, yeah. It's on thehill.com. I think it was. I'm trying to look for a date on August 8th. Says here's what's in the Inflation Reduction Act, the sweeping health and climate bill passed Sunday. No author given to it. Just says it was done on 8/8 at 1:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it runs through the categories and it kind of like gives you the highlights. But what if there was one unsavory highlight that they leave out because they don't want to piss off their leaning?
Right.
Then that means like someone like me doesn't get it also because I'm not reading it from someone who's unbiased. I just want the facts.
Mm-hmm.
In Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
I don't want to read 785 pages of that just to sift through and find out what I need to know.
Well, it makes it really easy also to cherry pick a talking point or something that you can that's favorable, or to shade something in the right way. So a lot of people are fired up that there is funding to hire 87,000 new IRS employees.
Right.
Now, if you talk to someone on the left, they say, oh, that's for customer service enhancements.
Which they need, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, because the IRS apparently answers like 10% of their phone calls.
Yeah, we had when my father passed 2 years ago, my mother had to get in touch with the IRS. It was a disaster trying to get someone on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
That, I mean, don't get me wrong. Same with the Social Security Administration.
Yeah, they're all awful.
A lot of the, I don't blame the people though. I think there's literally a staffing issue. Mm-hmm. Do I think the IRS needs 87,000 people? No. And the other thing is they're never going to get that many.
Right.
Let's face some facts. The federal government right now trying to hire people, it's hard enough for them to try and find people, especially in the DC area, because the federal government, when times are good, when the economy's good, private contractors snap up anybody they can.
Yeah.
Which leaves the government, and they pay better than the government. I know there was a couple of years ago, there was like, oh, this study says that government employers are paid better than private employees. No. For two guys that live in this area, we know people who work for, especially good employees, that work for private sector, either consultants, lobbyists, like.
Oh, yeah.
And there's no shortage of these people.
Yeah. Or even the big contractors.
Right.
Like Northrop Grumman.
Yeah. Or, I mean, you got Lockheed, Northrop Grumman, Booz Allen. I mean,
yeah.
These companies are huge. And they pay really well. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, when the economy's bad, the federal government has an easier time of hiring people.
Yeah, and I think that's when people like to point fingers at, look at these government fat cats. They're not losing their jobs. Well, because when you were, like, making stupid money working for your contractor, now that it's dried up, they're laying people off. The feds generally don't lay people off.
They try not to. I mean, to be honest with you, at this point, from what I understand, they're losing people just by attrition alone.
Yeah.
And that was supposed to be the plan. I remember that was the plan, like, I think 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like, they were trying to make the government smaller. Like, oh, well, we'll cut this. Like, and everyone said, look, the Great Resignation is coming, and this was before COVID even happened. This is 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, no, it's not coming. It's not coming. It was like the boy who cried wolf. It's coming. It's coming. Mm-hmm. It never came. It never came. COVID hit. And people started working from home. They stuck it out for a year, and they were like, peace, I'm out.
Yeah. Or, hey, it's time to come back now. Like, nah,
I'm good. I'm going to retire. Paperwork's in. I'm out. And that's a problem, though, because the federal government, one, the process to hire is slow. Mm-hmm. And I don't care what you say. If you're looking for a job, and it's 6 months between the time that you interview to the time that you get offered a job, chances are you might already have a job already.
Yeah.
So you run up against a lot of obstacles hiring in the federal government. One, you're probably paying, if times are good when you want to hire, you're paying less than your competition. Mm-hmm. Two, it takes forever for you to hire, so it gives other companies a chance to snatch up who you're hiring. And then three, you got to hope you don't lose two more people before you hire the one.
Yeah.
Because then you're in a perpetual state of catch up. And I'll be honest, I mean, since 2008, there really haven't been too many years where unemployment was so high where the federal government could take advantage of it.
Yeah.
But 80, that's why I think, yes, it's in the bill. It's a cost in the bill. But there's no shot there's no shot they're going to hire 86,000 people.
Right. And I think so I just found it. This is from the bill. It's on page 36, if anyone wants to look it up. Part 3, funding the Internal Revenue Service and improving taxpayer compliance. So it's right there. That's in bold-faced print.
Yeah, so more audits?
So Section 10301, enhancement of Internal Revenue Service resources. The following are appropriate, blah, 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 blah. Taxpayer services. Okay? For necessary expenses of the Internal Revenue Service to provide taxpayer services, including pre-filing assistance in education, filing and account services, taxpayer advocacy services, and other services as authorized by 5 U.S.C. 3109. Blah, 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 blah. As such, through which, by, for, hitherto.
What was that scene in Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory when Gene Wilder is going over the contract that they have to sign, like before they enter the factory? Hitherto, like, etc., etc. Well, what if we don't sign? Then you don't go in.
Yeah. So that was Section 1.
Yeah, I'm sure
taxpayer
there's 85
services.
more sections.
Section 2. So you can go and say, oh, it says right here in the bill, it's for taxpayer services, and everyone says, oh, that's great because the IRS sucks. and then you just skip the second part, which, and again, if you want to look at it from the other side, oh, it's just for enforcement. Or you just skip the taxpayer services part. So no matter which way you want to slice it, you can get your talking point out of this. But since we like to give it to the guy who's in charge generally, and the media, who just kind of like to be in lockstep, enforcement for necessary expenses for tax enforcement activities of the Internal Revenue Service, to determine and collect owed taxes, to provide legal and litigation support, to conduct criminal investigations, including investigative technology, to provide digital asset monitoring and compliance activities, to enforce criminal statutes related to violations of internal revenue laws and other financial crimes, to purchase and hire passenger motor vehicles. That's a good one.
By the way, don't skip over what you just said. Basically, that's to monitor bank accounts.
Yeah. Let's not glaze over that.
Yeah, let's not glaze over
your Venmo, your PayPal.
I think those companies have to report anything over, I think it's $250 in transactions and 20 transactions. So it's got to meet both criteria, I think.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's 2,500, and I forgot what, but it was a really low number. And, oh, by the way, once you hit that, we're going to start monitoring it.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, really, their police state?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Like, and that,
doing. Let's just gloss over that, though, in Section 2, first part.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the digital, and it's in parentheses.
Oh.
Well, no. It's not. The first part is. There's so many parentheses, it's hard to find where they start and end. To provide digital asset monitoring and compliance activities. So, essentially, if you have your little Etsy shop, stand the F by, because the tax man's coming for you.
IRS man's going to come and audit you.
Yep.
Meanwhile, and the funny part about this is, let's say someone reports their income, and you report it as, let's say a small Etsy shop owner makes $100,000, okay, but she doesn't report an extra $5,000 or $6,000. Let's say that's the difference, because that's essentially what they're going to find.
Yeah.
And let's say she's in a 25% tax bracket. Well, you're talking, what is it, 1,000? If she's in 25% tax bracket, it's $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, $1,250. So to get $1,250 back in the IRS coffers, you probably spent $80,000.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to go after people making under a certain dollar amount. Now, look, I'm not saying people should be. Look, the reason why people are honest on their taxes is because they're afraid of getting caught, right?
Yeah.
I get that part. But the person making, not reporting an extra $25,000 doesn't even pay for sending the agents out to go do the audit. An audit takes weeks, months, years sometimes, depending on how intertwined these finances are.
Yeah.
You're going to use, in hours equal money. Mm-hmm. Think about it. One day is probably $3,000 for one agent.
Mm-hmm.
When you factor in all the benefits you're paying them and everything. If you don't pull in $3,000 in that one day, you're now losing money.
Yeah.
Like, so to me, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
You should be going for high net value people, investors.
But the thing is, they don't want to.
Well, they're sure as crap cheating on their taxes.
Yeah, how about start with Paul Pelosi?
Sure.
And everyone in Congress.
Every single person in Congress. Yeah. Let's just go there.
Yeah.
I want to make it partisan.
Like, hey, sign this bill. Go ahead. You're first.
Yep.
You guys are first.
Well, you know that's not how it works now. They don't make the rules to follow them.
Right.
They make the rules for us to follow them.
Right. Rules for thee, but not for me.
And anyone who didn't learn that the hard way over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, for all the people who love Gavin Newsom, your boy got caught 3 times.
Yeah.
Not following his own protocols.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what else he's doing that you can't see with a camera.
So just to bring this thing to a vote, they had to bring everyone in to get it done. So this thing passed last Sunday night. So in order to get everyone in, so normally for a Senate vote to come in, they all have to show their positive COVID or their negative COVID test. Well, they suspended that because they knew, say, a whole bunch of people from the Democrat Party were out at a fundraiser last night, and they all, or a couple days ago, and they come in, and now they're all positive. They just lost it. So it was so important.
They wore masks though. They're okay.
Oh yeah, they're fine.
But they're not maskless.
They bring them in, and it's like, oh, we're going to suspend the COVID testing protocol, which was so important 22 minutes ago, but it's not anymore.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, there was an announcement from the CDC that now basically scrapped all COVID guidelines as to what you should do if you've been exposed. They all went away. So, conveniently, just for that vote. It's amazing. Amazing what happens.
Yeah. But, it makes me laugh. But it's also, like, disturbing, too, because that's how they operate. But they think it's insulting because you think we're all so stupid we don't notice it.
Yeah, I think most people notice it. They just don't. I think at this point they've thrown their hands up in the air and just like, I can't, like, what can we do now?
Yeah.
Like, these people are that powerful that, two dudes in a basement, I don't have the time or the energy to go fight that fight.
No.
Just as long as, and this is going to sound stupid because I know what the response is to it, but as long as they leave me alone, I really don't care. But the response to that is, well, when they come for your neighbor and you don't say anything, and then they come for you and no one's there to fight for you.
Right.
All right, I get it. I understand that. But we all are human.
But see, this show doesn't make any money, so we don't have to let the IRS come in.
Right, no, absolutely not. Yeah. By the way, if they're looking at us, we lose a lot of money. So, maybe give me some of those tax credits back, right?
Can we write it off as a loss?
I hope so, yeah. We'll set up a corporation.
Yeah.
Just so we can have a bunch of losses to write off. Not just that bill. I mean, look, we can go back to that bill in a minute. But that's how a lot of bills are done. All of them. I don't think any of them are 2-page bills. And every 5 or 6 years, you always get the one senator or one congressman who says, all bills should be 2 pages long. The American public doesn't read this. Or none of us even read it. And it gets swept under the rug 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
And they do the same garbage over and over and over again.
Well, and then also these things, these acts and omnibus spending bills and all this stuff, it gives them cover.
Sure.
Because they can vote for it, and they can put a bunch of crap in there that they don't like, but then there's no accountability.
It's the old ask for forgiveness, not for permission.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote for this, and I'll just deal with the blowback.
Yeah. Well, did you know this and this? But yeah, there was so much good in there. I figured that in order to get it passed, I had to put that in there too, to appeal to the evil other side.
Yeah.
So in order to appeal to the evil other side, we added that so we'd get enough of those guys to vote for it. So we could pass all this other good stuff.
Well, the funny thing is, though, that back in the day, they used to be called compromise.
Mm-hmm.
When you give some, you don't get a little bit here. You get some over here, but you got to give that guy a little bit of. You got to give them a little something so they vote for it. And, I hate to bring it up. I mean, but it was back when Bill Clinton, when the Democrats got just torched in the midterms. Yeah, him and I think it was either Newt Gingrich or Tip O'Neill. I forgot which one it was. But they essentially did a lot of good in those 2 years.
Yeah, they balanced there's a budget surplus.
Yeah. Yeah, and you would now is obviously a different time. And I don't know if it's because of social media or what it is, but there's definitely a lot less compromise than there used to be.
Well, we talked about it before because they all have to own the libs.
Right.
Or what is the other one for the conservatives?
Whatever. Trumpsters.
Yeah, whatever you do to conservatives or Trumpers or whatever that is. But it doesn't do anything but get you social media likes.
Right.
I mean, have you seen Idiocracy?
I have a long time ago, but
we are so close to President Camacho and the ass show, right, where they just looked at ass, and that's all it was a movie of an ass,
right?
We're so close to that right now, with the social media, the bloviating, and the trying to score stupid. And then, what is it with Republicans always having to have a gun for things?
I know. You can't have the Republican without the cowboy hat and the gun. Even though the guy's from just outside of Brooklyn.
Yeah.
dude, you don't live anywhere near a ranch.
What are you doing with the gun?
Yeah,
put the gun down.
Everyone's trying to play like they're on Yellowstone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, by the way, good show. Well, we just started watching it. Kevin Costner.
Never seen it.
Anyway, decent show about cowboys, Montana. All right. But you got these fools and like just outside of like these major cities, like they're ranching.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna tote this going and over. And like, no, brother, no, you're not. Be who you are.
Right.
It's okay to be Republican without shooting up guns like Yosemite Sam every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like he's got his Colt 45s in every commercial.
Well,
Come on, man.
What was it? Roy Moore that ran against the guy. He was like he showed up to vote on a horse with like a rifle on his. Like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, you literally, like, you can see the highway right there.
Yeah, the only people using horses to get around are ranchers and the Amish.
Yeah.
You're not either one of them.
And he probably rode that horse around the corner, and then some helper, like, loaded it into the back of a trailer and towed it away, and he jumped in his Escalade and drove home.
He needed a step stool to get on the horse. He didn't get on the appropriate way.
So it's like, you seriously rode a horse to vote.
It's a theater. It's theater.
But who buys it?
People do. They do. They vote for it. Like, wasn't Roy Moore the guy who was like accused of like some unsavory things with some underage girls?
Like touching kids or something.
And he got 48% of the vote. 48%. I mean, granted, it's Alabama, and look, insert Alabama joke here.
Right.
Right. But when you got 48% of the people that vote for someone that's done some unsavory things with a minor,
yeah,
even if it's questionably true. And you still get 40. I think it was closer to 49. Like, I think this dude almost won.
Yeah, it's still there.
Yeah, it's like they deserve all the criticism in the world.
Yeah,
you know, even if I agree with them on 95% of their political stuff, no, you voted for that dude, you gotta go. You don't pass the idiot test. Well, you know, he had a nice white cowboy hat on, so I voted for him.
And a horse.
And a horse. And he had a beautiful horse. Oh, I wish I could have voted for him twice because of that horse. Him and the horse. I vote for each of them.
Yeah.
I thought the horse was running as a lieutenant, but they told me he wouldn't.
I voted for the horse, not him.
But I mean, that's literally. I mean, you're trying to put Yosemite Sam on the ballot.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But then on the other side, though,
it's funny when I gotta give it to the right when they like shoot the tax code.
Yeah.
Why are you shooting the tax code?
Right. It did a lot. you just wasted paper
and ammunition.
Yes.
It probably wasn't safe. Like, I'm gonna shoot the tax code. That's what I think of you, tax code.
It's like, isn't there an ammo shortage and you used it for that? No, you need to be. Maybe someone needs to shoot you.
Yeah.
All right. But I mean, then you get the other side where it's like the hyper. It's like the Elizabeth Warrens of the world, who just stand on that soapbox, but when it comes time to vote, ooh, that rear end puckers up real tight when they got to vote against that money interest.
Oh yeah,
I would love for someone, and look, I'm not going to do it because I just don't have that kind of research time. I would love for them to just list every senator and congressman, list their net worth when they went into office and what it currently is now.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee not one of them. And I'll even say adjusted for inflation, because you got Bernie Sanders been in there since the 70s. Brother went in there with like $5. Now he's a millionaire.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe that $5 is worth $1 million right now because of inflation. I don't know. But basically what I'm saying is,
he had Paul Pelosi invested for him.
No shit, right? But I put it into a blind trust with Paul Pelosi managing it. He's an amazing stock picker. I wish that'd be funny if we had Larry David do the Bernie impression.
Well, that's why I want him to win, so I can see Larry David on SNL.
For real. Like, you want to know what? I hope the weirdest thing is, like, right now SNL, the reason why no one's watching it right now is because they're not making fun of the current administration.
No.
There is a lot of material there.
Oh my God.
Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there was a lot with Trump there too. But there's
Trump was a gold mine.
Yeah.
You didn't need writers. He did it for you.
Right.
But this guy is not much different.
No.
I mean, he's different, But as far as like material, like there's a video that came out of him getting out of the helicopter and couldn't put his jacket on. Now, granted, I've tried to put a jacket on, and there's a helicopter blade. They don't like that thing's still turning when he gets off. Like they don't wait. It takes a while for that blade to slow down. So I get it. It's windy. I've had, I'm a big dude trying to get. Where's the damn
Can't find the hole. Yeah, everyone's been there.
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of give him a pass, but still.
There's a lot more, though.
When he fell up the steps.
Or fell off the bike.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff to work with.
And we can even get away from his the problems that he had just because he's old and moving around and stuff, but like the stuff he says, calling himself the vice president and all, like there's plenty of stuff there to go after him for, and they don't, and it irritates the hell out of me because go both ways.
Yep.
If they're being legit, like they made fun of Bill Clinton and they made fun of George W. Bush.
Yeah, the only one they didn't really go after was they didn't really go after Obama, but they did. It was when Joe Biden was the vice president. They made fun of him when he was the vice president.
Jason Sudeikis was awesome.
They made fun of him. It was them making fun of Biden's interactions with Obama.
Yeah, and
Obama came off as like the adult.
Yeah,
and Joe was like trying to screw around every time. Like it's like the memes, like the Joe Biden memes when Joe's saying something and Obama's like, "Come on, Joe."
Yeah, or he has his head in his hand.
Right? Yeah. Like, so I mean, I feel like they always went after whoever was in charge because that was where the funny was.
Yeah.
And they would always go after like the Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority Leader. Like they don't do that anymore.
No, they just only and it's bad because there's plenty of comedy gold, like with Nancy Pelosi like smushing the mic down,
right? Yeah,
when she was like looking googly eyed, like rubbing her hands together when Joe Biden was giving State of the Union, like that's all funny stuff.
Yeah,
like let's be funny, let's do it. But no, that would go against their code.
And it's funny because that's why people think that there's a collusion of a single narrative, because you got to remember SNL is with NBC, right? Mm-hmm. And that's why people think that with NBC, ABC, CBS, and all of the affiliated networks that go along with that, including CNN, MSNBC, people think that there's a collusion that that the media isn't telling the truth, because even something as simple as SNL, providing satire from the political office of the president.
Yeah.
Like, it seems like everything is really, really coordinated. And it's just like, that's why there's a lot of distrust with it right now. But, I mean, going back to the original point, though, with having the bills written like they are, again, it's not shocking that nobody trusts these politicians, because when your side gets a bill put through and it's 800 pages, you're more likely to believe that it's awesome. So you're not going to question it. But the other side's going to question it, and they're like, I can't read 750 pages of this.
Right.
But it was the same way when Trump was president. 750 pages, and Democrats didn't believe a word in it.
Yeah.
And Republicans were like, oh no, it's great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's great. It's like Fruit Loops. It's like Fruit Loops and Fruity Pebbles mixed. That's wonderful.
It's fine.
It's like people are tribalistic. They want to believe that their side is the right. And it was funny because, and the reason why I'm kind of talking about this is because recently there was that the FBI raided Mar-A-Lago, which is Donald Trump's personal residence. And generally conservatives are all about law and order. Like they would usually side with the FBI if they were raiding a politician's home, and then all of a sudden the conservatives come out and say, the FBI should be dismantled. Now they're anti-FBI, anti-police, whatever. The tide is swinging a little bit.
Yeah. And
of course, I believe there was a Twitter post from an congresswoman from Ohio, who basically said, oh, look at the hypocrisy of them now. Look at I can't believe they're saying this now. This was the law and order party. Meanwhile, you got someone who's super liberal like Jimmy Dore saying, look, if someone finally comes around to your point of view, that's not the time to make fun of them.
Yeah.
That's the time to shake their hand and say, welcome to the fight. Mm-hmm. And it's two starkly different reactions. And I think at this point, you've mostly got a Democrat Party who's just looking for jabs. Like you said, like it's like conservatives trying to own the libs.
Yeah.
Democrats are trying to own the Trumpsters, trying to own the MAGA, right? Because they don't want it to come back. They feel like their best chance of having it never come back is to just tell those people how stupid they are.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it's not going to work. You already thought they were stupid.
Right, and that just further entrenches them.
And the funny part, I always thought this back in 2016. One of the reasons why Trump got elected over Hillary was that the Democrat side was literally just looking down on anyone who would vote for Trump. Mm-hmm. And that emboldened more people to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
That probably wouldn't have voted. Like, oh, you think I'm dumb because I'm voting for... Well, now I am going to vote. Now I am going to go down there and pull that lever for him. Mm-hmm. You pissed off... you pissed off people that got a lot of time to do a lot of lever pulling.
Yeah.
And it screwed you. And the arrogance that came afterwards. Again, I can't believe... Like Rachel Maddow going, I can't believe you did this, America.
Yeah.
Like, literally, she said that on a live TV after it was announced he was president.
Yeah.
Like... Keep talking down to people that you think are inferior and see how this works out for you.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're just going to entrench further, more and more people and then get others who are like, well, I'm kind of like that guy and you think you're calling him dumb, then I must be dumb. Well, then screw you too. And the thing is, like, after this raid, Trump's numbers went up even more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it kind of, I don't know what they thought they were going to accomplish there. And there's some other sketchy things going on with it. So, first of all, the DOJ should have immediately released the warrant return, which is what they got out of the search warrant, and the actual affidavit.
Yeah.
They should have immediately released it because it still hasn't come out. Now, Trump's side hasn't released it either.
Well, they're saying that he was fighting against it when I thought he was trying to release it, and like, who knows?
Yeah, but they should. The DOJ needs to release it as soon as they can. Yeah. Because right now you're saying, well, what, everything that's going on right now is it all started from something with archives, with the National Archives, and they're trying to get documents back, but apparently Trump's legal team has been working with archives to get all this stuff and the FBI to get, so they can see the documents, get what they need to put back in archives. Other presidents have just flat out said no. Barack Obama, in fact, said that he was going to keep it all and then digitize it and make it available that way. None of it's been digitized. None of it's available. But no one kicked his door in. So...
Well, and it sets a real bad precedent.
Yes.
Like... And I equate this back to when, and we've talked about this before, when Harry Reid got rid of the filibuster on judges, and that backfired because Trump got 3 Supreme Court judges, and it overturned a Democrat mainstay with Roe v. Wade.
Yeah.
Whether people agree or disagree with that, it was literally Harry Reid cutting his nose to spite his face, and I think we had talked about that. Mitch McConnell said, "You are going to regret this."
Yeah.
Because you shouldn't do this, and essentially alluding to, look, when we get power back, you've changed the rules, and we don't need to get that 60 filibuster-proof votes.
Yeah,
and lo and behold, it screwed them in the end. Mm-hmm. Well, now, you've raided the previous president, and
who also happens to be the current president's chief political rival too.
Right. And I can't believe no one thought to not do this.
Yeah, where was the guy that was like, "Hey, let's think about this. Let's play the long game. Let's kind of war game this out a little bit and see what happens."
Because I feel like Democrats never play the long game.
Yeah.
Republicans, on the other hand, tend to really play the long game, which infuriates its voter base. Mm-hmm. Oh, they never do anything. They never fight back. They never do this. Meanwhile, I believe they have the majority in 28 out of 50 states, state legislatures. They got a majority of the governors.
Mm-hmm.
They've been playing the local long game. Now, Democrats, on the other hand, have been playing the school board long game, where they got a lot of school board members elected. So you had two different strategies going on, and they both were almost punting on national politics.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a strange scenario. But it's like, okay, what are you going to do now that's going to bite you in the buns 5 or 10 years from now, or 20 years from now? And I can't believe no one in that high level political group that's making decisions didn't say, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
There's a very good chance, Mr. President, that you're not going to win in 2024. Or for that matter, when you're term limited in 2028.
Yep.
When you leave office, if you do this now, you leave yourself open to this kind of thing whenever you leave office. You're leaving yourself open to it. And oh, by the way, you and your son have got some real skeletons in those closets.
Yeah.
Someone said they think Hunter Biden's going to go under indictment within a year.
Yeah, I've heard it's close, and it's like, what was that like? And it's not just for smoking crack and banging hookers.
Yeah,
if it's just the hookers alone, most of DC would probably be jammed up in that one.
Right. I think this might be the one egg that they've opened that you can't uncrack.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous, though, because one of the narratives right now is that a raid on an ex-president's home is akin to what is done to political rivals in other countries.
Yeah.
I don't want to say which ones because I don't want to, I don't need that kind of smoke. But
yeah,
and they're not wrong. Political rivals in other countries have this kind of stuff done to them, and worse. I mean, who knows what worse could happen? But I mean, some of these people get shot and killed.
They get assassinated. They get blown up. Their whole family gets killed. Everyone that was associated. Or think about just maybe in the 30s and 40s, 1930s and 40s, a new governor came in. Everyone in the office got fired.
Yeah.
And the new staff came in from the new governor. There were no civil service positions. It was all just, oh, okay, you're all fired now. The old Tammany Hall, dirty politics, So, and that's almost a light version of it.
I want to go back to one thing we were talking about with the Democrats kind of looking down on some Republican voters. And look, I use movie quotes all the time just to kind of prove a point. I know it's not real life, but sometimes movie quotes can be very what's the word? Relevant, I guess. So if anyone's watched the movie Fight Club, there's a scene in the movie where the degenerates in the Fight Club get all of the waiter jobs and cook jobs for this political gala where the mayor and the sheriff or whatever. I mean, but anyway, these guys they're serving the food and whatnot, and the mayor gets up by himself and goes to the bathroom. Well, these guys follow him in and basically take off his pants, put a rubber band around his balls, and this is the quote: "Look, the people you are after are the people you depend on. We cook your meals, we haul your trash, we connect your calls, we drive your ambulances, we guard you while you sleep. Do not F with us." That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're effing with them by belittling these people in the manner that you're doing it. Like before, it was cordial.
Yeah.
It wasn't poking fun at the people voting. It was poking at the politicians.
Yeah.
But now you're poking at the people that are doing the voting. And you're only as safe as those people remain sane. I mean, and they're going to say, well, there's been shootings all over the place. No, these people aren't sane. They stormed the Capitol. They're not sane. Okay, they stormed it with zip ties.
Yeah.
Imagine if they came back and stormed it with AR-15s.
Yeah.
Like, for real. Like, Syria-type coup. Mm-hmm. Myanmar-type coup.
Yeah.
Iraq, the Ba'ath Party-type coup.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Mm-hmm. Imagine pissing them off to that point.
Yeah.
Now, look, there's already stuff on some of those social media platforms saying, I just need a call. First of all, you're fucking stupid. Stop putting that shit online. Yeah. Okay? But second of all, you're not a cowboy.
Yeah.
If you got an itchy trigger finger, go to the range, dude.
Yeah.
But you're dealing with a very proud population, all right? Generally, people that have less money tend to value their pride more, I think. Now, don't get me wrong. I could be completely off the reservation with this. Well, that's probably not a good thing to say either, but who knows what we're going to cancel for nowadays. But essentially, you don't know. Now that you're poking fun of these people personally, it's no longer the generality.
Yeah.
It's you voted for Trump, you're a Trumpster, you're a jerk, you're unintelligent, you're it's almost like they're saying you're blue collar. What do you know?
Yeah,
I went to college. I voted Democrat.
Hillary Clinton put it best. You're a deplorable.
Yeah,
the bucket of deplorables.
Yep.
And when you cast aside things like, and Mitt Romney kind of did it too when he said, half the country's not going to vote for me anyway. But he was kind of right, But that wasn't a speech. That was recorded. But when you go and you label this whole group deplorables, and you do it from a position of condescension,
yeah,
that's when you start getting into this real shaky game because now everyone who's not some Brandeis, Harvard, Yale, Stanford educated person goes and says, oh, well, I got a lot more in common with the bucket of deplorables than I do with this,
right,
coastal elite looking down at me.
Well, and that's another thing. It's like you look at the Democrat representatives. None of them. And I hate to say this, other than AOC, who was a bartender. Mm-hmm. Who else were? None of these people were working blue-collar jobs.
Yeah. Now, AOC was a bartender. AOC also went to, I want to say, Boston University.
Okay. All right.
And her parents come from money. So AOC plays a big game.
I got you.
Like, she's this. But no, AOC, the whole story behind that's not really.
She's not as blue-collar as she tried to make it up. Okay, no. I got you. See, I didn't know that. But they're not putting up a good.
She wasn't Jenny from the block.
Right. Other than, and it's really weird, but other than like the NEA, the National Education Association, which got caught writing basically writing the DOJ memo, about parents that Merrick Garland sent out.
Yep. And there's also a whole bunch about them with the COVID policy, say how afraid they were to go back to school. Yeah. The NEA is not out there for kids.
They're not out there for teachers.
Yeah.
I really don't think they are.
No.
There are a lot of teachers that I know. You got to think about it. There's a lot of teachers in these rural areas, not just the urban areas, that don't align politically with the NEA. Mm-hmm. And for them to blatantly do what they did, I think they really alienated a lot of their membership.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately for teachers, I don't think you're allowed to not be in the union because the union negotiates on behalf of all teachers, regardless of whether you're paying or not paying.
Yeah.
I think some places it's voluntary, other places it's not. Mm-hmm. But that's for them to do what they did. It just kind of pulled back the veil of the like there would be separation there.
Yeah.
Now, some of these other unions though, like the AEW and the IBEW, which is the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and you got the AEW, the auto union. And you got some steel worker, but you got a lot of these tradesmen unions. I can't imagine that their rank and file is voting Democrat these days.
No, I can't either, especially when you get into the trade unions. And I've always been a union guy, and my father grew up in Pittsburgh. I kind of grew up as a old school union Democrat. That's kind of where I was, and
that's when Democrats believed in the blue collar people.
yeah,
They don't anymore.
Yeah, and now it's they've left people like just kind of left us behind. Like we've said it before, like I'm kind of still where I've been my entire life, but the tides have shifted,
right?
And now the rock that was once submerged is now sticking up out of the sea. So
I think some of my opinions might have changed a little bit.
yeah, I think some things I've gotten a little bit more moved right on. Some things I've moved left on too. So
that's true. Yeah, I definitely have.
I think if you were to average out all the sliding scales, like if you were building a player in Madden, my overall rating would still stay the same.
Right. I think
99.
I think a lot of my things changed when I realized that a lot of my perceptions of what could be done, I realized it would never be done the way it should be done, and therefore I realized that government shouldn't be doing these things. So, for example, like the single-payer healthcare.
Yeah.
I know government's never going to get that right.
No, just look at this stupid 700-page bill.
Sure. I mean, literally, in the part that they're touting about Medicare, so Medicare for up and still to this day is not allowed to negotiate drug prices. They have to pay whatever the manufacturer tells them the drug is worth.
Right.
While insurance companies, private insurance companies, are allowed to negotiate what they're going to pay for that drug. Okay. So one of the big things that they said in this bill, or that they were trying to, when they try and sell it to the public, was, well, now Medicare can negotiate drug prices
of how many drugs.
But so here's the thing: then you read those 750 pages, and you find out that starting in 2036 or 2035,
2026.
Sorry, 2026, Medicare will be able to negotiate the price on 10 drugs. Now, keep in mind, there's
all the drugs.
Right. Yeah. Almost not all the drugs. Not all the drugs.
Not like all the experts.
No. There are no. Listen, there were some experts here that put just enough drugs in to say that they were allowing Medicare to negotiate the drug prices. But here's the funny.
It's probably stupid crap like the toenail fungus drug,
so it's
restless leg syndrome drug.
It's 10 drugs, but they have to be older than a certain age in the market.
So they get penicillin.
Yeah, right. So you're going to be able to exactly
the polio vaccine,
right. The Z-Pack, right? That you can negotiate that down, which only costs probably $20 anyway.
Zantac. I could buy that at CVS.
Right? Yeah, it's like drugs that the prices are already low on. You can now negotiate that even lower. You get an extra $3 of savings.
NyQuil.
Yeah, but you need that life-saving drug. No, it's too new.
Yeah.
We're not negotiating that.
Yeah.
But hey, look, there is room for optimism because I believe in 2038 or 2028, they add another 10 drugs.
Yeah, we're up to 20 now.
So 2028, that's a short 6 years away. It's all a short 6 years away. Medicare will be able to negotiate for 20 drugs. But they still have to be older than a certain. They have to be out in the market a certain number of years.
Right.
Now they did. The one good thing I did see in there was they are capping Medicare users out-of-pocket drug costs at $2,000.
Okay.
Now keep in mind most people on Medicare are on Social Security.
Yeah.
Probably make it $20,000 anyway.
Yeah.
So hey, we're gonna cap it at 10% of your total income. Is that all? Wow, thanks, Congress. It's like, what? At this point, I mean, can we? This is Congress not doing it right.
Yeah.
Like, I would love single-payer health care done right.
Yeah, I just don't think it's possible.
It is. It's possible if Congress wasn't there. If Congress wasn't making the rules.
Yeah.
Right. This is why I think socialism has its fanboys. Mm-hmm. It's got its Bernie Sanders. Why? Because in their view of it, it's going to be done right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bernie. Even if you became president, you're the only democratic socialist still in government.
Right.
You and AOC, you guys are holding the torch.
Mm-hmm.
So now if you're the president, you got to rely on that girl to do it right, she probably can't read the first 3 sentences in that bill.
Well, she went to Brown or Boston College or whatever I said, so she probably can.
Listen, I went to college too, and I can't read it. You know, unless she's one of the 3 or 4 people that write all this garbage.
Right, but here's the thing: for a body that to add, the vehicle must be made in North America, and it was a half a page of gobbledygook.
Right.
How much would it take to put, like, for a single payer healthcare system?
Oh, forget it. You're talking. I'm going to say short side, 200,000 pages.
Of gobbledygook.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'd say you probably got about 1,000 pages of real, and then 199,000 pages of
just
junk.
Parentheses and if and hitherto,
And
therefore.
Yeah. Refer to section 175 D, E, F, Y, and G, subsection 1572 -E, semicolon 45.
Insert, delete, comma, insert and add North America.
Did I hear a niner in there? Tommy Boy reference, by the way, for the people out there.
But yeah, this thing is just so. And the reason I started looking into it because I want to see what other sort of silly nonsense was in it. Because a lot of times these bills will have some just ridiculous nonsense stuffed in there.
I miss the old pork barrel stuff.
Yeah, like the bridge to nowhere.
Yeah, that's the big one.
Some senator, senator in Wyoming wants to establish a research facility for cheese research for the blind, and
Right.
like it's going to be like $500 million of funding to build some nonsense art center in the middle of nowhere.
What was it? There was always money for Little Sisters of the Poor.
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah. Like what is that? Like I was hoping to find some of that good stuff, and I haven't really found anything. Sometimes you get some surprise legislation. You're like, ooh, that's pretty sinister. You stuck that in there.
Yeah.
Or a handout to some big. But I think this whole thing is just a handout to corporations.
Well, what was that? The one part with the cars that you were telling me about. So it was like there's a tax credit for electric vehicles.
Yeah. So if you buy an electric vehicle, and granted, this is I'm trying to decipher the gobbledygook, but essentially it's $37.50 is the credit that you can get for a car. But then further down, that's if you buy a vehicle that's primarily powered by an electric drive motor via plug-in hybrid or
Full electric.
full electric.
Okay, all right.
So that's the one part. But then there's another qualifier that it also has to be because of all the manufactured in North America. So the Taycan's out.
Right.
Whatever electric vehicles out of, what was it, the Honda Insight, if they're still making it, unless it was made here, out. But it can be made in Mexico because that's North America.
Sure.
So, and Canada too. So then the other part was there was a cap on the cost of the vehicle. So it's $80,000 for any truck, van, or SUV, and $55,000 for any other type of vehicle. So let's just say a sedan. So the Model S out. So all the cool ones are out.
Lightning out. Mach-E out.
Yep. Rivian probably out.
Yeah.
So essentially you're left with the Tesla Model 3, but the base version.
Is that under 55?
Yeah, but it's got to be the base version.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure if it's MSRP or whether that's the actual price you pay.
Right, yeah.
So you'd have a whole nother subsection of insert
more gobbledygook here to verify.
And then, so I guess you're kind of limited to the Nissan Leaf
Okay.
and the Chevy Bolt.
Which is currently cooking its owners.
Yeah.
Because it lights on fire.
I think the Silverado, that's what I like to call it because it has the blue E.
There's no shot that thing is under 80 grand.
Hell no.
No. So out.
Yeah,
Gone.
that's out. The Cybertruck, if it ever gets made, out.
What's the Cadillac one? What was I forget what they called it. But that's out.
Yeah.
because that's 100 something grand.
Right. So is the Mercedes-Benz, but that's made in Germany, so it's out.
Out.
The Taycan, out.
What about the Volkswagen ones and the Audis? Are they made in the U.S.?
I don't know. Depends on...
Down in Tennessee, maybe?
Well, I think all of the German SUVs are made in the U.S.
I know Mercedes makes the mid-size one.
Yeah, like the old the M Class, which was just a pile of junk.
Yeah,
that
which
was made in Georgia.
Nobody should ever touch it because it literally will blow up on you. or the big GLE, I think was it? So that one, the driver's side power seat would actually light on fire.
Oh, great!
Even if it wasn't on, the car could be off. You got hot buns. That's a different kind of seat warmer. When it
just really cold that day.
When it really, like, literally burns your hole. Bring a new meaning to the words.
But there's more.
Oh, yeah.
There's also a income cap. So if you make married filing, head of household, or whatever it is, the cap's $250,000.
Is that single though or jointly? Filing jointly?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Because there's another number that's lower for single, which I think is $150,000.
Okay.
So if you and your wife make under $250,000, you can go buy a Tesla Model 3, provided that it costs under $55,000. They'll give you $3,700 back.
I got a feeling no one's ever going to use the incentive.
A couple people will.
Maybe. Yeah.
You know.
Like a young kid who has no other expenses. And
right.
Just out of college, you can buy his Model 3.
Yeah, and then there's a whole bunch of things for buying energy efficient appliances. But then they like to say, oh, well, it's going to save you. It's going to save. What I love is when they go and you have, like, Joe Biden has not had to drive himself hasn't had to fix a dishwasher in how long? But he's going to go and say, this is going to save the average family $400 a year. $400 a year? Dude, my kids eat that in 2 weeks.
Right.
Thanks, dude.
This isn't 1950 when $400 was great for a month.
Right.
You know,
like I make $400, and you know my take home pay every year is $5,000. Like I paid $12,000 for my house. Like no, dude, where do they get these numbers from? That shows how out of touch they are. I mean, most people's cable bill is $400 a month.
Yeah, right.
You know, so you're going to go and spend $10,000 on a whole new appliance suite for your entire house to save $400. Meanwhile, when you can't afford to put gas in your car, like what planet are you guys living on? That's what I want to ask them. Like,
they're not living on the same planet we are.
No,
they're not. None of them are.
They clearly aren't.
They get driven everywhere.
Yep.
I do find it hysterical though, because these same people who are making all this money, they pay their staffers garbage.
Yeah.
Like they can't even afford to live in DC. It's like they got to live with like 6 other people in a 3-bedroom house.
Oh yeah.
And we're talking grown adults.
Yeah.
Sharing a room. It's like they're 10.
Yeah. Well, there was I think it was an Instagram page. It was all like Capitol Hill staffers, and they would just go like just tear apart. And I think it kind of gotten taken down. Like they found out who it was and were like, this thing better disappear, and it did.
Yeah.
And I never went on it. But I kind of kick myself because I bet you there's some salacious dirt on there.
Oh, sure.
You know. And they would just go after him. But yeah, they treat him like crap. Because the thing is, it's almost like minor league baseball.
Right.
Like we're going to pay you $12,000 to play baseball for the summer. And by the way, you have to find a place to live and feed yourself and pay a clubhouse fee and buy your own bats. But it's an apprenticeship because you might make it to majors.
Well, but I mean, a lot of the PGA Tour does that. Mm-hmm. You know, you pave your way through like the nationwide tour, the Hooters tour.
Yeah.
Hoping that you're going to get your tour card so you can play in the PGA, and hope that you make it in the money rounds.
Yeah.
You know, or like Major League Baseball, or even the hockey ones to a certain extent with the OHL, WHL. And
then you get to ECHL, AHL.
Yep.
You hope for that shot. And the thing is, like, look, if you're 22, 23 years old and you want to go be a Capitol Hill staffer, because all they do is go to stupid, pretentious bars in Georgetown and bang each other. Like, okay, you're kind of it's college extended.
Right.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And then you see, like, And then it's kind of the same, like the minor league athletes that are coming up, like, hey, you just graduated from college, like, why not give it a shot? If you got the opportunity to make a single A club, give it a shot. But at some point, you're gonna have to be like, okay,
give yourself to 25 or 26 years old.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't work out, all right, it's
roll
not
out.
going to work out.
And then you can always say, yeah, I played pro baseball, or say, like, even to dress in a major league base, any of the top four, like if you're playing hockey and you dress for a game and you get in a game, you can say, hey, I played in the NHL.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're already not even top 1%. You're even higher than top 1%.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and that's where, but the staffers and stuff, what do they get? Oh, I got to work for the staffer. You know, I got to change Mitch McConnell's Depends.
Right. I think I pretty much so.
Who was the dude? What's his name? Jerry Nadler.
Oh, God.
Did you see that video?
No, what do you say now?
So it was maybe 2 years ago, and he's standing on they're signing some stupid bill, and he very obviously like sharts, and then like does the penguin walk off the stage. I wish we had video here because it's hilarious.
Oh my God.
Like, yeah, you had to change Nadler's diaper. Good for you, dude. I'll pass.
Right.
I'll be the bartender.
He recently said, if they don't vote for me, there'll be no more Jewish Democrats in the House.
Yeah, because because of redistricting, he has to run against someone else.
Yeah.
And she's also a like long-term Democrat. I think it's funny they have to primary each other.
No, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I don't remember what we started with this. It was something about
We started with the ridiculous bill.
right,
So-
and then we kind of veered off into partisanship with the going to rating of Trump's place, and we kind of veered back onto the bill. So hey, we stayed on somewhat topic.
Hey, we came back.
All
We
right.
always do.
Good for us.
Yeah, boomerang.
But yeah, if you've ever tried to read a bill, put a comment down below. Let us know which one it was and how awful it was. Or if you just think any of this is ridiculous like we do, let us know.
If you've ever written one, that would be...
Shoot, yeah.
bring you
bring
on
you
the
out as
show.
an expert. Like, how did you learn how to do this?
We'll try to line you up behind the alien experts.
Right. Actually, they could probably use that person.
Maybe they're the same.
Maybe. There can't be that many of them that can write like that.
No. Or not right, depending on how you look at it.
True. Well, thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment, share, and we will see you next time.